Scaffidi easily winning the GOP primary for U.S. Senate. He'll go up against unopposed incumbent Tammy Baldwin in November. In western Wisconsin, the race for Congressional District 3 will be between Republican Derek Van Orden and Democrat Rebecca Cook after her win Tuesday over Katrina Shankland. In District 4, Tim Rogers won the Republican primary and will face Gwen Moore in the fall. And across the state, 2 referenda questions regarding the spending of federal money allocated to Wisconsin did not pass. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Hovde cast his own ballot just outside Madison Tuesday. Spoke with TMJ4 News about his opposition to ballot drop boxes.
Why do we need drop boxes? We never had them in our election process until we had a pandemic. We don't have a pandemic today. It's very easy to walk into any voting spot where it's monitored and vote.
Statewide primary was the first election to use drop boxes once again after a Wisconsin Supreme Court decision legalized them last month. Arraignment Tuesday for former Milwaukee Public Schools Board member Aisha Carr, who pleaded not guilty to falsifying records to show that she was living in the district she was representing when she wasn't and being paid for the position when she wasn't eligible. She's due back in court September 12th. In Las Vegas, an elected official on trial for the murder of an investigative reporter. Prosecutors accuse former Clark County Public Administrator Robert Tellis of stabbing and killing Las Vegas Review-Journal columnist Jeff Gehrman in response to articles alleging Tellis created a toxic work environment while in office. CBS's Elise Preston has that story.
Gehrman is remembered in Las Vegas as a bulldog reporter of the highest caliber. CBS's Mark Strassman spoke to Gehrman's co-workers at the Review-Journal after his death.
I don't think our city will ever grasp how much he did, but our newsroom will.
Now, Tellis continues to maintain that he's been framed and that the police mishandled evidence. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, Gehrman was the only journalist in the United States killed in 2022 for doing his job.
Another region of Russia declaring a state of emergency amid Ukraine's large-scale border incursion in Belgorod, the site of deadly attacks launched on Ukraine. Governor saying civilians there are dead and houses destroyed. Here's ABC's Ian Pinnell.
Russian troops seen captured and taken prisoner as Kyiv pounds the Russian border region of Kursk, which neighbours Belgorod, with missiles and drones, claiming control of almost 80 settlements. It's also struck 3 Russian airfields overnight, one more than 380 miles inside Russia itself.
Milwaukee's Latino population lags behind when it comes to health and well-being. The Hispanic Collaborative's Nancy Hernandez tells WTMJ Milwaukee ranks 45th out of 50 similar cities.
While we are making small progress on many of these 40 variables, we are dropping in ranking. The reason being is when you're not moving as fast as others around you, you're going backwards, and that's really what's happening for Milwaukee.
Hernandez says her group tracks 40 data points, including college graduation rates, income, and overall health. Today's Consumer Price Index report shows inflation appears to be cooling. New data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows food prices were relatively unchanged in July. Consumer prices were up 0.2 last month at about 2.9% from a year earlier. It's the first time overall inflation measured on a year-to-year basis has come in below 3% since March of 2021. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 42 points. The Nasdaq is down 54. The S&P 500 is down 3. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:05.
Are you in need of expert exterior renovations? Look no further than Ridgetop Exteriors. For over 22 years, we've been the trusted name in roofing, siding, windows, doors, and gutter replacements.
I couldn't be happier with the new roof Ridgetop Exteriors installed. It's like having a brand new home.
The team at Ridgetop Exteriors made upgrading my siding a breeze. Quality work and friendly service.
With a track record of excellence, we take pride in transforming houses into dream homes. Visit us today at ridgetopexteriors.com for a free consultation. Ridgetop Exteriors, your trusted local affordable partners.
When I finished law school, my grandpa was long retired from working in the Rapids paper mill.
Dan Krause, Army veteran and owner of Krause Estate Planning in Brookfield.
Grandma and Grandpa asked me to help them get their wills set up. This was my first experience helping people with estate planning. I loved it. I loved helping my grandparents with this. Now, 25 years later, essentially that's all we do. We help people with wills, trusts, and asset protection.
Shore up your estate plan with Krause Estate Planning in Brookfield.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlands.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands. You're due for service.
Richlands. Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers dropped the opening 2 games of their series against the Dodgers following a 7-2 loss. Milwaukee continues their 4-game set against the Dodgers tonight from AmFam Field. Schedule for this year's NBA Cup is out. The second edition of the league's in-season tournament will tip off November 12th. The Bucks host the Raptors on opening night. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. I-94 east at 70th Street. There was a crash off left. It looks like that has been cleared up. Just a little bit of slowing in the construction zones. I-43 Brown Deer Road to downtown and I-894 westbound Mitchell Interchange to the Hale Interchange. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast after morning fog. Mostly sunny, then increasing cloudiness. High today, 81, then rain tonight. Mostly cloudy, low 69. Showers and storms likely tomorrow, 76. And Friday, partly cloudy, scattered showers with a high of 80. Slight chance of rain on Saturday, high 77. Then the sunshine returns on Sunday, 78 for the high. 68 in Madison and Green Bay, 71 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
I say yes. What say you? Yes, we are live from the beautiful studios here at the Avenue, GKB, WTMJ, 620 WTMJ. Special guest. We have a lot of guests this hour, by the way, because we're sort of recapping yesterday's election results in studio from the Institute for Reforming Government. CJ Safer, my friend, and the lovely Nadia is sitting along as she enjoys her summer vacation. So that's nice.
What's going on? And it's her birthday on Saturday.
I know.
A lot going on.
Big number 9 coming up for Nadia, so I look forward to hearing all about that next time you come in, because she's almost always here with you, which is nice. All right, so yesterday was Election Day in Wisconsin. Turnout was up from what it typically is, it sounds like, in August, keeping in mind that August is not November. I guess just like an overarching question right now, what did yesterday's results, you could pick whatever races or constitutional amendment questions you'd like to, what do they suggest to you about the state of the races? Overall.
The 3 big takeaways, and I think the last one's the one that should be discussed the most, right? So one would be a good night if you were a Trump-endorsed candidate in the Fox Valley. Tony Weed pulled out the primary, beating Roger Roth.
Tough candidate, and he beat him.
Yeah, and that was a lot because Tony Weed was outsider, businessman, Trump-endorsed candidate, right? You kind of get the message. That's kind of the candidates that they push throughout the country. And Roger Roth, incredibly talented, conservative, done some great things in the state legislature, and that still was not enough to win.
A lot of people say he'd make a great congressman.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the other side, but you know what? Maybe not a great night if you were an election denier of 2020. I mean, you can see several candidates lost.
Janelle Brandtjen, yes. So those folks did not fare very well last night. So what is that? Those races, what do they say to you? Maybe we're done with 2020 and all that stuff? Election questions and my term, nonsense and shenanigans?
Well, for the vast majority of people, elections are always about the future, right? You want to make a case that to voters that voting for you, you'll be better off tomorrow than what you were today or yesterday. And the problem with constantly going back to 2020 is, my gosh, right now it's 2024, right? It's 4 years later. There's another presidential election now. I think the audience for that, even in the Republican Party, is a heck of a lot smaller now than what it was before.
I agree with you completely on that, and I hope that's the case, although there are signs that the post-2024 might be similar. We shall see. That also depends on margins in a lot of states and in the national race for electoral votes. All right, so the big one yesterday, obviously, was the constitutional amendment questions. And for a lot of people, I think Republican and conservative voters, this was a chance to sort of realign how things are done in the state, sort of matching what other states do. Legislature controls the purse strings. Well, that's not the case in Wisconsin when it comes to federal dollars. Voters said pretty overwhelmingly, now, again, you can tie it to money if you want, and we'll probably have that conversation. 57-42 is a pretty convincing no vote on both. Take away on that.
Yeah, and full disclosure, IRG and our friends at the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, were the most active group on the Vote Yes campaign, spending around $300,000 in ads. So I come at this from a point of view.
But let's be fair. The other side spent way more money than you did.
Look, and I don't want to take away his thunder, but Bill McCoshen once told me that elections are about M-O-N, right? Money. We were outspent 12-1. Vote yes will end up being between 300 and 400,000 probably.
Right.
The vote no is going to end up being $3 to $4 million. You just can't compete. I don't care what's on the ballot. That kind of disparity is going to give you advantages to target voters that the other side just doesn't have. Second, it's organization. I mean, they had Governor Tony Evers using his bully pulpit, going around the state, constantly telling people to vote no, and the media covers it. It echoes throughout the suburbs.
On the organizational question, who was the person, or maybe we don't have one, that would argue the yes vote? Who was that person in the state of Wisconsin? Did someone step up and say, I'm the guy, I'm arguing that it should be a yes vote? Did we suffer from not having one of those people?
Well, and look, in the last 5 weeks, just call a spade a spade. I mean, the most active people going out there talking to media was people with Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, Institute for Reforming Government, and then also our friends at the Badger Institute. Sure, in the last couple of weeks, there was, you could see more politicians getting involved, members of Congress, but, when you're going on social media, that's a much smaller echo chamber than if you're the governor going out around the state, if you're Democrat voters. And we keep in mind, this is a battlefield that favors Democrats. Democrats now vote. They vote in droves. A lot of reasons for it. Some of it's social media, some of it's community, some of it's issues we've discussed in the past. Look at Ozaukee County. Ozaukee County used to be one of the most red counties. Right now for vote yes and vote no, it was 50-50. Can't win. Dane County, their turnout in Dane County was 45%. About one of every two voters in Dane County voted. That's really tough in an August primary.
Okay, so is it money completely, or is it the changing mood of the voters? Are they looking at things in a different way? We all talk about everyone being hyper politicized and hyper partisan. Maybe voters are looking at these issues now with a more critical eye and saying, you know what, we don't want to change things. And especially, this is something that you and I talked about before the show. Maybe voters are saying, let's not do it constitutionally. Let's figure it out in the legislature with the governor's assistance, and maybe cooperation, compromise, communication are really the three C's that matter. Maybe the voters are saying that.
Well, if it's money, it's organization. The second M is message, too, right? And I disagree with their messaging. I thought they misled the public on purpose, but they were able to use...
How so?
Because their constant tagline, they spent millions of dollars of out-of-state money to say that this was going to erode our checks and balances. It would do the exact opposite. This is the whole point of the constitutional amendment, was to impose a check and balance on the governor. But they were able to effectively, to their credit, reverse that message. They also had a message of how, essentially there's so much gridlock, this would jeopardize disaster relief funding. And I think that was a message that resonated with liberals in Madison, liberals in Milwaukee,
even though it may
and
not
suburbanites.
Even though it's not true. There can be sessions. I know we've talked about the gavel in, gavel out stuff enough ad nauseum. But I mean, if there's truly an emergency, legislature and the governor can work together to address those funds when needed.
Absolutely, yeah. It happens in at least 40 states across the country. I mean, yes, we live in very polarized times, but there's plenty of examples of the legislature working with the governor. Examples, every 2 years, they spend about $80 billion of a budget. So, I mean, it's not as bad as I think they said it, but you know what? It was effective messaging. They had over $4 million to get that message out, and that was able to win over not just the blue areas, but they ran up pretty good numbers in rural counties too.
From the Institute for Reforming Government, C.J. Safer. We'll continue the conversation. What issues are voters thinking about, and what will they vote on in November? We'll have that conversation after this on the Political Power Hour. You know where we're at, 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ's John Mercure here for another Annex webinar, the first in a two-part series. Me and Annex Wealth Management CEO Dave Spano answer your questions on changes that could be made to tax laws. What will make them different this year? Register for our free webinar on Thursday, August 15th. Here's what you do. Go to WTMJ.com or text WEB to the WTMJ Talks and Text line 855-616-1620. Go to WTMJ.com or text WEB to 855-616-1620. Another Annex Wealth Management free webinar on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent. Snoring, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. That does not have to be your reality. It's no longer mine. I did something about it. I went to Advent. Before I ever was a spokesperson, I was a client and a customer. I went to Advent. 30-minute visit, one of the great facilities. They put me at ease. They answered all my questions. Now, everybody's different problems, different solutions. For me, pretty simple. We did a study at home in my own bed, sleep study. They determined the root cause of my problem had to do with sinuses and nasal passages. Well, they fixed that in a quick 30-minute procedure. I'm sleeping through the whole night. Again, solid night's sleep last night. That's why I have so much energy and I'm so refreshed today and in such a good mood. That could be your reality. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
If you're interested in any and all of the election results from yesterday, text the word votes. VOTE. Did I have to spell it? I think I did. VOTE. For all of you out there, VOTE will get you all the election results, including the constitutional amendments, which went down 57-42. All right. Because IRG is a great organization that looks at things in depth with some great people working there, including Jake Curtis, who's been on the program. Is he still working there? Yes, he is.
Yes, absolutely.
I just want to make sure, because you guys move around a lot. We know that. All right, so I know you guys do a lot of research on this. What are people thinking about in terms of the issues that are driving them not only to be passionate about politics, but to go out and actually vote?
Well, this year we've launched a bridge building campaign where we're trying to learn more about voters across the state and what are the policy issues that move them to the ballot box. We've done focus groups of college-educated women, which we've discussed. We did about 2 polls in the last about 2 months, just asking what are the issues that you care about when it comes to driving you to vote. And it's the easiest answer is it's the economy, the economy, the economy. If listeners want to know who's going to win the presidential race, at the end of every week, just look back and think about which candidates talked about the economy, which candidates talked about cost of living, which candidates talked about taxes and housing and gas prices. That is what's going. That is 1 out of every 2 voters in Wisconsin say the number one issue is the economy and cost of living.
Let me ask you about that, because I've talked about it. Groceries and gas prices are the 2 G's are like the big ones, right? Everybody, it's always gets all the attention on social media. They always the pictures of the gas pump then, the gas pump now. The risk of that, though, is let's say gas goes down from whatever it is now, $3.79. It goes to $2.79 at election time. So does that naturally give Kamala Harris the advantage? That seems rather shallow to me.
So a couple thoughts. So we poked that a little bit. So we asked of those that said that affordability and the economy is their number one issue. Well, we asked kind of why, and 50% of those voters said it's food costs. And then 20% said taxes, and then less was housing, but gas was only 8%.
Okay. So food, grocery store.
Yeah, if you just think about the things that people are more aware of, which is kind of food, taxes, and like housing. We also asked, who do you blame for inflation? Like, who do you blame for this? 1 out of every 3 voters said the president, said Joe Biden.
Okay.
20% of voters said the pandemic.
How does that work when Joe Biden's not the candidate anymore, though?
Well, and now this is why we saw, as Marquette Law School poll and other polls showed, there is a bit of a bump for Kamala Harris.
Right.
She's not Joe Biden. Republicans to this date, I don't think, have done an effective job at painting her as essentially a second term of Joe Biden. That's going to be the number one challenge after the convention bounce, after Labor Day, when we get into like the home stretch of September and October.
Don't you think they're missing an opportunity by not painting her as a California Democrat? Because that seems like something that always plays well with conservatives and Republicans and gets them passionate. I don't think they're doing that enough. We're talking about crowd size and other nonsense.
Yeah, my sense is they've spent the last month just kind of trying things out, seeing what like really sticks, to put it mildly. But, you know, the polling that we've done, at least in Wisconsin, we're not going to speak for other purple states. In Wisconsin, 1 out of every 2 voters say it's the economy. And that is what's going to win the day. Yes, the border is an issue. I mean, it is pretty interesting that 20% of voters say that the border is a major issue for them, Republicans. But still, that's not something we've seen in past presidential cycles. Abortion is still out there. That's still an issue for like a ton of voters. But it's taking a backseat to the economy and cost of living.
The abortion one's interesting because of all the passion of the Dobbs decision and the reversal, and now, you know, most politicians saying hand it back to the states, although sometimes that's seen as sort of a deceptive move. How critical will that one? You say it's what was the percentage on that one? Women's health, abortion. That's lower than gas and groceries and the border. How passionate do you think voters will be in November on that issue?
Well, if past is prologue, they could be very passionate because, you know, once the deluge, the avalanche of ads come, which we've seen the last 4 years in the Milwaukee suburbs, that might ignite something. You know, a part of it is abortion is becoming more of a state issue. I think voters are getting more savvy. I think they now appreciate that. They're more looking at that as being a big issue in the state Supreme Court race in the spring. We have a big gubernatorial race in 2026. Maybe it's taking a backseat in the presidential race because with the overturn of Roe v. Wade, it's back to the states.
Your organization did a lot of great research on the Whitewater story. I interviewed Jake Curtis for the podcast and for a little bit for the show, and the story of 1,000 people coming into a very small, albeit a college community, and sort of overwhelming all of their resources. It seems like a logical, natural ad campaign that would make sense to Republican voters again, but I'm not seeing those as much as I think we should.
Not yet. I mean, I think this is a unprecedented summer. When you look at what's happened with the attempted assassination, when you look at the convention in our backyard, and then you have the dog days of summer where no one's around, everyone's with their kids, and then you got the Democrat convention and then Labor Day. I would not be shocked to see a little more of that. We've started to see some crime ads. Look, I think the one other thing that really popped, and if you're a conservative listening, you know, it shouldn't be all doom and gloom, because when people say they're hurting, they're looking for solutions. So we actually pulled things like universal basic income, which is giving everyone a check.
Right.
That pulled pretty high. But you know what also pulled high? 60% of Wisconsinites say they want to get rid of the individual income tax. 55% said that they want to get rid of red tape to create jobs. There is an audience for solutions coming at both the right and the left. So if you're trying to preview things for next year and for the 2026 gubernatorial race, it's going to be about solving problems at the kitchen table.
I agree with you completely, and we got to wrap it up. But I think that's what a lot of voters are looking at: an efficient government system, whether it's local, whether it's state, or whether it's the federal government. You're spending our money. Start looking at how you're spending it, how efficient you are in using our dollars. And frankly, be honest in the process. I think that's something that voters of all persuasions are calling out for. CJ Safer, Institute for Reform in Government. Always appreciate the conversation. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll wrap up the first half hour. Don't forget, we had Ben Wickler, we got Bill McCoshen, Joseph Pecky, a power-packed political power hour right here on 620 WTMJ.
Welcome to another episode of Analysis, man.
From Buck superstar Giannis.
You know, and then I'm going to Chris at the time. What did coach mean? What do you...
And even Green Bay QB Jordan Love. There's only one call for these conversations.
I've never been in a Lambo, and I have to, right? What is this Lambo league?
Tune in to the Thanalysis Show, presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Find it today on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get podcasts.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Heiser. My wife and I finally, because it was a long process, but we want to get it right, took advantage of Heiser's great savings, got our brand new 2024 Chevy Trailblazer. It's fantastic, amazing vehicle, great, fantastic gas mileage, beautiful sterling gray metallic color. Always looks good. I love that color because it doesn't show dirt, and that makes it easy for us. 5-star safety rating. All the safety and security features, automatic emergency braking, IntelliBeam, auto high beam, lane keep assist, which is one of the things we insisted on, HD rear vision camera. It's like a TV screen back there. And all the other stuff, 3-year, 36,000 bumper to bumper, 5-year, 60,000 mile powertrain warranty, and other great programs. Safe and sound, roadside assistance for life, vehicle exchange program, all great reasons why you and anybody you know should take advantage of their great customer service. That's why they can say every day. That's why I say it all the time. Today is your day.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris talk to one of the most controversial basketball stars about his road to redemption. Find Here District now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
For your next exterior remodeling project, we know you're not asking a lot from us. You want the right products for your situation, you want a few different financing options that can make your project affordable, and you want us to do a good job with minimal disruption to your life. And this one's important. You want a warranty that matters. And we know that checking every box makes all the difference. You might be surprised at how many moving parts go into it, but we have just the right people in all the right places to pull that off every day and make it look easy. The company we have took us 21 years to build. It's an awesome place to work because we never stop improving it, and we think we can do this work so well that we can actually change the reputation of exterior remodelers long term. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Ask about our finance options.
Oh, we're off to a great Wednesday. I am feeling great today. You know, primary elections are interesting, and certainly we had the constitutional amendments. I'll say this about that because we're waiting for Ben Wickler to join us. He's the chairman of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. You know, I had CJ Safer on. He has his take on it. I have my take on the constitutional amendments. I guess I fall into the camp, this is not how we should be doing business. This idea that we're going to alter the Constitution every time somebody's mad about politics seems rather silly to me. And there's no end to that, and then we're going to constantly, constitutionally change our original document to cater to the whims of politics today. I think we have to respect the document, respect the law and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin. And ultimately, and this is something I've been preaching for a long time, we have to respect how it works, right? If we have a legislature and a governor who both have shared responsibilities to create a budget, pass a budget, sign a budget, then figure it out. Why is this so problematic? And the answer is of course, politics. Now, you can be passionate about politics. That's a good thing. You should be passionate about politics because it affects your life. Probably more so at the local level, which you should pay more attention to. That's important. But beyond that, pay attention to who's running for office and do the homework. And that means more than talk radio. I'm sorry. And I love talk radio, and I'm part of that universe. It's more than that. Do your homework on the candidates. And stop listening to one party telling you this is the way. One person, one party doesn't have all the answers. It's often a communication loop. Figure it out. All right. Local news. Before we get to any of that, the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Inflation heading in the right direction, at least if you want interest rates to go down in the next month when the Fed meets. The government says consumer prices rose 2.9% in July compared to a year ago, the smallest increase in 3 years.
Generally, it doesn't mean that you're going to see an overall decrease in what you're paying, but it does show that those prices are not going up as fast, and that is going to be a lot of relief when you think about the impact month over month cumulatively of how those prices aren't going up quite as much now.
That's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. 500,000 power outages in Puerto Rico. Thanks to Tropical Storm Ernesto, it skirted the island. It is now moving further north toward Bermuda. State Department approving the sale of $20 billion in new weapon sales to Israel as Iran continues threatening to strike. Another region of Russia is declaring a state of emergency as Ukrainian troops continue their large-scale incursion into Russian territory. Ukraine's counter-invasion catching the Kremlin, officials say, off guard. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:31, decision Wisconsin results are in from Tuesday's statewide primary election. Eric Hovde won the GOP primary for Senate. He'll go up against unopposed incumbent Tammy Baldwin in November. In congressional races, it'll be Democrat Rebecca Cook facing Republican Derek Van Orden in District 3. Republican Tim Rogers will challenge incumbent Gwen Moore in District 4. And in the 8th, former gas station owner Tony Weed won the Republican primary to replace retired U.S. Representative Mike Gallagher. He'll face Democrat Kristen Lyerly in the general. 2 statewide referenda questions did not pass. 58% of voters answered no to prohibiting the legislature from delegating appropriations and requiring legislative approval for the governor to spend federal funds. For a full rundown of the results, text VOTE to the WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Suspect on the loose after firing shots at an off-duty Milwaukee police officer early Tuesday morning near 37th and Orchard on the city's southwest side. The officer had heard 2 people trying to break into a car. The suspect fired at the officer who returned fire. Suspects fled on foot. Police still looking for them. Scrapping plans for a brewery equipment factory on Milwaukee's north side. Spike Brewery planned on expanding its operations on Holton Street near the Milwaukee River. Owner Ben Kaya tells the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel the project isn't proceeding because of environmental cleanup needed at the site. Milwaukee Die Casting Company operated a factory on that site from 1952 until 1997. Time for some news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed bag on Wall Street. Dow is up 57 points, 39,823. The Nasdaq is down 124 at 17,062. The S&P 500 is down 10 points at 5,423. Get an honest opinion of where you are financially and where you're headed. Work with a fee-only fiduciary. Start at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Just a little bit of slow and go in those construction zones. You probably know where they are. I-43 southbound Brown Deer Road to downtown. Also I-894 westbound Mitchell Interchange to the Hale Interchange. No other problems to report this hour. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast after that morning fog. It's going to be sunny for a while, then increasing afternoon cloudiness with a high of 81 and rain late tonight with a low 69. Showers and storms likely tomorrow with a high 76. Scattered showers on Friday with a high of 80. Slight chance of rain Saturday 77, then sunshine Sunday with a high of 78. 68 in Madison, 68 in Green Bay, and 71 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:34.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstad here. I absolutely love Wisconsin this time of year. It's absolutely heaven, especially on a lake, especially after a swim perhaps, or maybe even water skiing. But again, you know how that goes. You do something like that, then the joint pain really starts to act up. The knees really start to bark. And you know you want to take care of it, but you don't want surgery. Well, there is another way. QC Kinetics. There's exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief in your joints, and the place to go is QC Kinetics, using cutting-edge treatments, but no surgery, no drugs, and here's the best part, no downtime. You can get right back to work the day of your treatment. Call QC Kinetics today and find out what they can do for you. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. This is the future of medicine. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation, 414-285-3474.
For the last 16 years, we've been hosting private tours throughout the city's most delicious eateries, iconic breweries, and cultural neighborhoods. I'm Teresa from Milwaukee Food and City Tours. Let us plan your next team outing on our Brady Street lunch tour. Kick off your besties bachelorette weekend with a Bloody Mary brunch or on our super fun tacos and tequila tour. And celebrate your next birthday on our famous pizza bus tour. Schedule your next outing with a private bus or walking tour at MilwaukeeFoodTours.com.
One size rarely fits all. That's why at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we carry a huge selection of quality name brand jeans and pants. We're so confident we have the right brand, style, and fit for you that we'll give you a free $5 Blaine's Farm and Fleet gift card for every pair you buy. Get an extra $30 Blaine's gift card for every $150 Ariat purchase. And shop store-wide savings, like a DeWalt shop stool with casters, only $99.99. Find your perfect pair of jeans for less at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
If you get a chance and you're on the Twitter, also known as X, my show poll is up. With the defeat of 2 constitutional amendments on Tuesday in Wisconsin, what message do you think voters sent to their elected representatives? I gave you a few choices. Start working together, exclamation point. Right now with 66% of the votes. None, all about the money, 23%. We had that conversation with CJ Safer earlier. Divided government works, question mark, 4.7%. And other, and we got a lot of votes already, so jump on the line. If you're not on the twit, which is probably a good life choice, you can certainly vote on the WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. All right, I know he was heavily vested in the results yesterday. The chairman of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, Ben Wickler, joins us on the hotline. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Steve. It's such a good morning. It's great to be with you.
All right, so what message do you think voters sent last night on the constitutional amendment questions?
Voters support Governor Evers. They support using federal emergency funds to deal with emergencies. They don't want to give Robin Vos a choke chain to stop our state government from being able to effectively respond. And they don't want MAGA politicians messing around with the Constitution to undermine checks and balances in our system of government. This is a very clear decision from Wisconsin voters. And I hope the GOP gets the message and stops trying to do an end run around the person that twice voters elected statewide to run the executive branch.
How do you respond to, and CJ Safer made this point, that the spending of money to influence elections is certainly at a pinnacle in our country's history where, you know, whether it's Supreme Court elections or presidential elections or even the case of constitutional amendments, one side outspends the other side and they get the results they want. Do you buy into that?
What I've seen is that when elections are close, spending can make a big difference in the outcome. When there are double-digit landslides, then spending is usually not the central factor. It is, or at the very most, at the most, spending can help inform voters about what's happening, and then voters make the decision about which way to go. So I do think that money and volunteer energy, it makes a difference. I also think it would be a good idea to look at public financing and campaign finance reform, which has been a long-standing part of the Democratic platform, and Republicans have eviscerated at every step. They're now whining because the rules that they created are backfiring on them. And I would invite them to join Democrats in thinking through how to make a system that's more responsive to people and less responsive to money. I think that would be a great idea.
I agree with you, but good luck with that because I don't see that changing anytime soon. All right, let's talk about it's the era of new maps. How did the new maps fare for Democrats yesterday in the primary?
It's just amazing to see. You know, Democrats have assembly candidates in 90. We have now nominees in 97 out of the 99 assembly districts. Republicans, I guess, stopped recruiting at some point, and they have 84 assembly candidates. They only have candidates in 11 of the state Senate races. Democrats have candidates contesting all 15 of the state Senate races that are up right now. But the big thing that I think all of us should want is for voters to have a choice. And now they really do. The outcome is not etched in stone in advance. There are a couple dozen competitive races across the Assembly and Senate to really decide who gets to serve in the legislature on November 5th. So what we saw in the primary last night, some of the more extreme candidates lost their primaries, especially in the state legislative races. I wouldn't say that in the 8th congressional district, but in the state legislative races, you saw some of the Stop the Steelers lose primaries, and that's what you want to see. You want to see districts that reward the people that are best able to represent the majority of the constituents, not just those representing the extreme fringe. So I think we can already see in the primary election results the impact of having maps that lead to more responsive electorates and victors in these races.
A lot of strategists for both sides. Yeah, I'll talk about an energized base and certainly energized voters who get passionate about a lot of things, and we'll talk about issues in a second. But as far as turnout went yesterday or potential turnout in November, where do you think that story's going?
Well, this was a August primary without a serious statewide primary race. This was not like 2022, where both the governor on the Republican side and the Senate on the Democratic side had seriously contested primaries, right up until the end of the Senate race on the Democratic side. This was a moment where there primaries.
We're losing
questions.
So you would a little bit there. Oh, I think we lost him. We're going to have to let him go. I got to take a break. Ben Wickler, we'll hope to reconnect on that conversation. He's traveling. He's en route to somewhere, so we'll continue that conversation at a later date. Thanks to Ben for jumping on. I wanted to get that side of the aisle. We're going to have both my strategists, my Friday strategists, Bill McCoshen, Joseph Pecky, joining us hopefully after the next break right here on the Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ. Sorry about that, Ben.
Uline is here for the hard workers. For the ones rolling up their sleeves, working round the clock, and getting the job done. You're dedicated to doing what it takes to keep a business growing. Uline is dedicated to helping you make that happen. Working 7 days a week, staying fully stocked and ready to ship any of our 41,000 items the same day. Uline, your shipping and industrial supply specialists. Visit uline.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Adair, A-D-A-I-R, Floors and Remodeling. Yes, South 27th Street in Franklin, easy to find, south of Rawson off I-94, and, of course, north of Ryan Road, Highway 100, also known as right there on that border between Oak Creek and Franklin. Why should you go there? Their flooring is amazing. The remodeling now, which is another big part of their business, can help with all of your design options and needs, and you can show you all the different samples that are certainly on display at their facility at South 27th Street. Home or business, by the way. Family owned and operated right there in Franklin. And they've done my kitchen floor about 20-some years ago. Still looks fantastic. Owner Rob goes, oh, my God, that looks amazing. And he's right. Our new basement landing area looks fantastic. Whether it's home or business, stop at Adair. You can also find them online, if Tom Scaffidi sent you, at Adair, A-D-A-I-R, floors.com.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak & Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are injury lawyers living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak & Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
As the kiddos get ready to get back to school, you can find really great back-to-school savings at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. School supplies and some surprisingly cool clothing too. And teachers, you get an additional discount. Get the best back-to-school bargains at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
An epic Brewers homestand kicks off August 9th, featuring a division duel against the Reds. First place battles with the Dodgers and Guardians, plus 3 giveaway games. Find the game for you at brewers.com/tickets.
Our southern border is in chaos, with drugs and criminals flowing into our country. But sanctuary cities protect illegal immigrants who commit crimes from being deported. Like an illegal immigrant arrested for battery in Madison. He should have been deported. Instead, he was released back into the community and went on to assault several more women, including a 13-year-old girl. Senator Tammy Baldwin voted 9 times to support federal funding for sanctuary cities that refuse to cooperate with immigration officials and release these dangerous criminals back onto our streets. And Senator Baldwin voted for amnesty for 11 million illegals, including convicted criminals. Call Senator Baldwin, 608-264-5338. Urge her to support S-1068, the Stop Dangerous Sanctuary Cities Act. Stop protecting illegal immigrants and start protecting Wisconsin. Paid for by One Nation, www.onenationamerica.org.
Oh, it does feel good to have the boys. I missed them because I was gone traveling, and they were working hard at the State Fair on Friday. Bill McCoshen, Republican strategist, Joseph Heck on the Democratic side. Gentlemen, reunited for a little brief conversation, very brief because I don't have much time, before we tee it up on Friday for the full Political Power Hour. We'll start with you, Joseph Pecky. How are you feeling today?
I'm great. I think it was a good night for Wisconsin based on two top takeaways, and then I'll yield to my friend Bill here. The first of which is the defeat of the sort of MAGA, ultra-MAGA election-denying Republicans in primaries. I think is a very good sign for the Republican Party. I hope that this is the start of a trend and not a one-off. And then secondly, I think voters saying enough is enough when it comes to this nonsense with screwing around with the state constitution. I heard Ben Wickler talking in the last segment. I think he's exactly right. When it's a 15-point win, you can't say money made the difference. Republicans just overreached.
Interesting. All right, Bill McCoshen, where are you at?
I'm going to take those two, and I'm going to add to them. My two big winners last night, obviously Governor Tony Evers defeating those statewide referenda 58-42. Those are blowouts, no question. That they were confusing referendum. It's always easier to get voters to vote no than it is to get them to vote yes, especially on confusing. But there's no question Evers gets a win. My other winner last night, big one, was Robin Voss. To the point Joe made, he was able to defeat sort of a lot of candidates who wanted to come to Madison and burn the Capitol down and in Republican primaries across the state. And he did it with smart campaigning. He put the right resources in the right campaigns. And I think Robin Voss was a big, big winner last night. And I think it's good for the party. I agree with Joe on that 100%.
I think it reaffirms what I've said for a long time. He is one of the most, if not the most powerful politician in the state. And in his own unique way, he's able to sort of push aside the Ramthams and the branches and sort of get back to the work of governing the state and legislating for the state of Wisconsin. All right, so is there a race in particular across the state, whether it's up northeastern Wisconsin with the Gallagher replacement or anywhere else that, we'll start with you, Joe, that caught your eye?
Well, that is the northeast part of the state is the sort of exception to the rule. It was not a clean sweep for what we call Team Normal. Mr. Weed, who had the backing of Donald Trump, did win the nomination in the 8th congressional district. That is a win for Trump and the Trump forces. I also think it sets up a very interesting dynamic where in both the 3rd congressional district and the 8th congressional district, you have very, very far-right MAGA conservatives running against younger women candidates. Given the dynamics at the top of the ticket now and all of the momentum on Kamala Harris's side and what may be a record-high gender gap and turnout among women voters, if I'm a Republican this morning, I am sweating at the thought of running against Kristen Lyerly and Rebecca Cook in those 2 congressional districts.
Anybody?
My call out.
Go ahead, Bill.
Go ahead. Yeah, my call out would be Josh Schoeman, the Washington County executive, who's a frequent guest on your show. If you look at the results in Washington County last night, the referenda actually passed there 2-1. 65%. There's no county in Wisconsin that's more red today than Washington County. And moreover, Josh endorsed 5 candidates who all had competitive primaries, and he was 5-0. Whether it's Bratz for DA or Reichel for clerk or Dan Knodel over Branchin or Jim Pivovarchik over Pridemore or Dan Fine over Tim Rantham, Josh Schoeman won 5-0 last night.
Yeah, there's a reason why I have him on the show, and I've said before, he will be a candidate for governor, I believe, at some point, and he will be a governor of the state of Wisconsin once he becomes a candidate. All right, anybody have any thoughts on this? Somebody asked me about the 2nd congressional district, Pocan-Olson. What do we know about that? Is that a real race? Is Mark Pocan in danger of losing that race?
No.
Okay.
Well, Dane County had 45% turnout last night, and the referendums went down here 82-18. I don't think Mark Pocan's in any trouble, but he did lose in the 3rd CD. He went all in on Katrina Shanklin, and Rebecca Cook won that race.
All right. Are you looking forward to Friday's show?
Can't wait. It's been a long time.
All right. Yeah. Well, I've been on vacation. I well-deserved vacations.
We got to hear about the supper clubs.
Oh, I will tell you all about that before and during the show. Gentlemen, we'll tee it up again Friday. Bill McCoshen, thank you very much.
See you guys.
And Joe Zepecki will tee it up on Friday, 9 o'clock. All right, we'll wrap up this hour. Great hour, by the way. Great guest today. The Political Power Hour for you just tuning in for the first time. And I just had someone that sent me a text who's never listened before and said, hey, thanks for having the both sides thing. So I kind of what I do, what makes this show unique. The Political Power Hour right here on 620. I'm waiting for producer Jaslyn to get ready. Right here on 620 WTMJ.
Throughout history, some people have been born into greatness because of their name or family. Others gained greatness because of their actions. On Wisconsin's Morning News, we celebrate everyday heroes, the John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they woke up one morning they'd be saving a life. Everyday Heroes, Thursday at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
You're hearing it every day. Another political ad, another agenda. But no matter what happens in this election or the next, you still have the power to control your financial future. Elections can impact a lot of things, including the stock market, inflation, and taxes. And if you're thinking about retirement, I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit to prepare you for the retirement you've always envisioned. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates will show you how your savings might be affected and what you can do now to help prepare. Don't let this election or any election control your retirement future. Call or text PREPARE to 414-441-5451 to get your complimentary Retirement Ready Toolkit. That's PREPARE to 414-441-5451.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
Grandview Homes will buy your home fast, easy, and stress-free. No real estate agents, no repairs, no cleanouts needed. And our reputation is built on 15 years treating sellers with the dignity and respect they deserve. Visit GrandviewHomes.com for your fair cash offer today.
Buying a home should be a joy, but could you imagine doing this without a realtor? Paperwork, inspections, appraisals, deadlines, showings, market research? Or you could relax. Or understanding legal documents, negotiating offers, coordinating inspections, securing finance. Oh, sorry. A realtor can take the stress out of the home buying process. See how at wra.org/a-realtor-can. Brought to you by the Wisconsin Realtors Association.
Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Time for another new coat of paint on your house? Get Rhino Shield ceramic coating. You won't have to paint again for 25 years guaranteed. Right now, get $1,500 off with 12 months same as cash financing. Visit rhinoshieldwis.com or call 262-483-2566.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Bikers need protection, not just from other drivers, but unfortunately from insurance companies too. If you've been injured in a motorcycle crash, call Gruber Law Offices today. Bikers are often blamed for causing the accident because the insurance companies simply don't want to pay. At Gruber Law Offices, we've been fighting for injured bikers and their families for more than 30 years. Trust us to fight for what you deserve. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Thanks to my guest on this great Wednesday morning, C.J. Safer, President of the Institute for Reforming Government, Ben Wickler, Chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. We had a little technical glitch at the end, but I think we got most of the conversation in, and Ben's always welcome on the program. And lastly, Bill and Joe, Bill McCosh and Joe Zepecki, my strategist, contributors for my Friday edition, join me just for a little sort of election recap. A thought on the Ramthun-Branchen races. One hopes, and when I say one, I mean me, that this does sort of signal, and I think Joe alluded to that in his comments, that let's stop talking about 2020, okay? The election wasn't stolen. There was no conspiracy. There was no, all this ballot stuffing nonsense. It's one person, one vote. It's validated by clerks. I've had clerks on the program, for goodness sake, and on my podcast talking about how the process works. I'm sorry that your candidate lost. We've spent millions of dollars, and that is on Robin Voss, because you hired Mike Gableman. You have to live with that. with that reality. And now, thankfully, he's sort of cast them aside. But that's after we spent millions of dollars on something that didn't need to be spent. I also, and I'll say it in the general term, one hopes that we will not repeat this insane process post-2024 November election. I'm not confident that's going to happen. There's already processes in place, pieces in place at the local level to disrupt elections, to challenge elections. So here's how you defeat that. And this can go for either side. You want to end the nonsense? Win in a landslide. Send a message. If you're a Democrat, vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. If you're a Republican, vote for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Send a message. Win in a landslide. Then we're not talking about this nonsense, and we can actually move on to like what really matters, which is like policy, economic issues, border policy, immigration, what to do with individuals who have been in this country illegally for 20 years, who are paying taxes, are the cornerstone of many foundational industries in our state, like dairy, like construction. Instead of the silliness that I hear every day from politicians and talking heads, or squawking heads, probably more accurately, who waste all of our collective time. And lastly, if you get your information from a station that parrots party talking points, you're only getting one side of the story. I'm not part of that. I could care less who you vote for. That's your choice. What I will give you is the opportunity to hear candidates and representatives and strategists from both sides. Joseph Pecky and Bill McCoshen probably don't agree on much politically, but they act like normal, civilized, rational human beings. That's why they're on the program. You want to hear someone yell for 3 hours? Knock yourself out. Not going to happen here. All right, after the all-important update with Connie Weber, Jeff Sherman and the Upswing. It's coming up next right here on 620 WTMJ.
Welcome to our Everyday Health feature sponsored by the Freighter to the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. For most people, the health and wellness needs that arise most often are issues like getting quality sleep, managing to a healthy weight, minimizing stress and anxiety, dealing with back and other types of pain, improving digestive health, and other daily needs. To help conveniently meet those needs, the Freighter to the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network collaborates with Vale Health to offer the Wellness Marketplace. Here today to tell us more is Dr. Mark Lotus, Chief Medical Officer and Vice President, Population Health and Medical Education for the Health Network. Dr. Lotus, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with, what is the Wellness Marketplace?
Well, the Wellness Marketplace is a new online platform that offers guidance and a selection of products and services that allow people to take ownership of their own health and well-being. It combines clinical expertise with vetted health and wellness product categories and resources for patients into a single digital location. Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network worked with Vale Health to lead and launch the Wellness Marketplace earlier this year.
Doctor, can you tell us more about the Wellness Marketplace and exactly how it works?
Absolutely. We all know that setting health goals, whether they're related to sleep, fitness, nutrition, or other aspects of our health, is a great step toward improving our overall well-being. We also know there are products available to assist us in reaching those goals, but there are just so many choices out there, it can be tough to know exactly what to choose. The Wellness Marketplace offers tools for better sleep, healthy weight, diet and nutrition, fitness, and mental health. Products for more health needs continue to be added. When you select a product from the Wellness Marketplace, you can feel confident in your choices, knowing that the products and resources are carefully vetted.
Dr. Mark Lotus, thank you for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much, John.
You can find more information about the Wellness Marketplace by visiting freighter.valehealth.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Penny Mustard is proud to present the world's most average sectional.
Okay, let us explain.
The Beck sectional at Penny Mustard was designed to be average.
Average in size, that is.
The fact is, not everyone can accommodate a massive sectional sofa.
That's why we designed the Beck sectional.
It can fit your entire family without filling up the entire room.
It has the look, feel, and confidence of a giant oversized sectional.
But it fits in the average home.
Made in the Midwest with high resiliency foam cushions.
And hundreds of kid and pet friendly fabric and leather options.
So if you want a standard size sofa,
or if you have a small scale space.
Bex is the average sectional of your dreams.
You know, being average is special.
Yeah?
At least that's what my parents always told me.
come try the Bex Sectional, starting at $36.55 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Time for the crew to take those old trolley Dodgers out to the ball game.
Hit in the air to right center.